We are into week number 6 of the high school football season, and it's time for our weekly preview presented by EMS Detergent Services and Main Street Suites. And Jason, it's easy to remember we're into week 6 because the Bears sit at 5-0 right now, thanks to that big win over Bellevue, 1-0 in district play, 52-28. It was an offensive explosion on Thursday night.
1-0 on Thursday nights, too. Yeah, that's another key stat. It was. I mean, every which way but loose. Passing game, putting up 313. Running game, putting
326.
326? Yep, 326.
313 for Gavin.
Yeah, 326 total. My fault, Tanner, who scored 4 different ways, which evidently doesn't garner much of attention, but that's a pretty impressive statistic. Also impressive, 213 yards receiving for a receiver. Stephen, how many fingers can you count receivers that have gone over 200 yards receiving?
In West Branch history.
In West Branch football history, it's 1, and it happened last week. Gavin Hirschman, 381 total yards, which is a total offense record that, as far as we know, back to the early 1970s. Yeah, they put up 1 yard shy of 500, which is top 5 all time in the program's history. That's a pretty good night.
Yeah, and it was a situation where, Coach Hirschman talked about it a little bit. They were taking what the defense was giving them. They were executing when they needed to and taking advantage of opportunities. I looked at it. We had the pick 6. There was two other interceptions. There was a fumble recovery. All of those led to West Branch touchdowns. That's 28 points off of turnovers. So that means the defense is being aggressive and making some noise. And the offense is taking advantage when they're given those opportunities.
What are those 2 unwritten rules? If you control this and this, you're probably going to win a game. What are those? Turnovers and penalties. And the Bears cut down their penalties from 2 weeks ago to last week to this week. And the offense put up 52 points. And as Stephen chronicled, the defense did their job to lead to all that offense happening. So you got to give the defense a lot of credit on that as well. We focused on the offense at the outset of this, but the defense did their job too. May have given up more yards than they wanted, but when you're getting turnovers leading to offense, and they're leading to 28 points? Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good statistic too. Yeah. So.
And more yards and points than they want to, but you do have to tip your cap. That was a good Bellevue team. Probably one of the best 1-4 teams in the state of Iowa.
I would say so. Getting up 360 yards, and that's a team on film that we said last week that is going to be a little bit more scary than what you think it says on paper. Don't look at things on paper, because they played West Branch very well over the last few years. But now we move into week 6 and the Cedar County Trophy title game. This is it. This is for all the marbles. The West Branch wins.
Yeah, basically, because if not, Tipton will have the tiebreaker, and if we do, we're undefeated in it.
Yes,
so
that's correct.
Get to head up to Doug Jackson Field, the Doug Jackson Field, and take on a North Cedar squad that, coming into the year after, 2 or 3 straight 1-8 seasons, everybody's like, okay, yeah, North Cedar's going to be wrapping up the bottom of the district again. Not so much. They've got some experience, and they're turning things around up there a little bit. They come in, they lost to Tipton in their opening game. They've rattled off 4 straight victories now, and they're coming in ready to go. And that's one of these that over the years they've, even if they are a 1-8 team, have played West Branch historically tough. So we know we're going to be in for a dogfight here this week.
34-0 in the first week. Take that away, and they've given up less than 10 points per game. The last 3 weeks, 8, 7, and 7, or 7, 8, and 7. So they're giving up a touchdown per game. So defensively, they're putting it to teams as well. Offensively, they're going by the names that you saw most of the time last year. You've got Ethan Saar, I hope that's how you pronounce it, at quarterback. Brody Hotry at running back. And you've got Mr. Hotry. You've got Cale Unruh as the leading receiver with 6 receiving touchdowns through 5 weeks, 18 receptions. But one stat, a lot of things are going to happen through Mr. Hotry. Out of 272 offensive snaps, he's touched the ball 112 times. Works out to about 41% if you do the math. So 4 out of every 10 snaps, touches, are going to go through him. So you're going to see his name a lot. You got to keep your eye on him because he's a big-time playmaker.
Well, and it's interesting, those guys that you all mentioned, they're guys that aren't newbies to this varsity scene. Ethan Sarr, this is his third year as the starting quarterback. Hawtrey played a little bit as a sophomore, was the starter last year, starter this year. You look, they've got Went, Caden Went, I think it is, on the offensive line. 4-year starter. Wow. He started as a freshman on the offensive line. They've got guys that have been around, and even though they haven't had the success, I mean, there was an article in the Gazette this week that Coach Haydenfeld was talking how, we just really didn't compete that first year. We started to compete a little better, and then we started to compete a little better. Now we're competing a lot better, and it's translating to wins. So, it's that progression that you see, and, they're hoping to make that next step. That would be a big boost for them to knock off the Bears this week.
Well, think about this. We talk about how they're 4-1. How many 11-man football squads in the state of Iowa have at least 4 or 5 victories with only 23 kids from senior through freshman? The entire program has 23 kids out for football. So participation numbers aren't there, but they're getting big results, both offensively, defensively, and of course on the scoreboard where they've outscored teams 4 more times than they haven't. So this is a big game for them. They want to stay in. They're 1-0 in the district. West Branch is 1-0 in the district. Whoever wins this game is going to have sort of a leg up. They're going to be, you want to call it a driver's seat, but maybe you can this early in the season to have 2 wins out under their belt and be in the head position and taking out one of the teams that won the first week. You're going to feel pretty good about it as you move forward in the last 3 games.
It's going to be an exciting one, and like you said, anytime you just have the Cedar County rivals going at it, there's just that added emphasis on it, and somebody's wanting a trophy.
Woo, woo! Over under, baby, on the trains is at 15.5. You tell us at westbranchfootball.com which side you want. If you pick the correct number on the number, I'll buy you a medium polar bear down at Main Street Sweets with one topping, one topping involved. But you got to make sure and get to westbranchfootball.com or on Twitter, West Branch Football, on the Instagram, West Branch Football, on the West Branch Football Facebook page. Let's have some fun with it.
Looking forward to it. No JV game, so it'll be varsity only. It's a 7 o'clock kick from the Doug Jackson Field. Yes. If you can't make it up there, or if you get caught behind one of those 15.5 trains on your way in, just tune in at westbranchfootball.com. We'll have the Bearcast, all of the action for you. Big thanks out again to EMS Detergent Services and Main Street Suites sponsoring our weekly preview. And we'll talk to you Friday night right here on westbranchfootball.com.